Let's talk about the future of the Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson. This team could be in a great situation if Anthony Richardson can stay healthy long term. They did miss out on the NFL playoffs, but this was one of the most fun and one of the best seasons for the Indianapolis Colts in the last couple of years. Yes, they lost to the Houston Texans in a horrible way. Gardner Minshew throws the ball to the running back. He drops the ball for the first down. That ends the game. But you look at all the injuries that they had to deal with, and even with Anthony Richardson being out for majority of the season, this was a very successful season with this team. Shane Steichen is going to be a very good head coach moving forward. We've seen him be a quarterback coach and an offensive coordinator in the past, and he's done wonders when he worked with guys like Jalen Hurts and with guys like Justin Herbert. Even in his short time with Anthony Richardson, he looked very good. Anthony Richardson had 3 passing touchdowns to 1 interception in 4 games and 4 rushing touchdowns. So this is a guy that went out there and did a lot of good things on the field. He didn't play as much. Like I mentioned, he only played 4 games, and one of the games he was knocked out of with a concussion. He has to learn when he gets an open field, it's okay to fight for contact here and there, but slide. That was the biggest thing with RG3 in the past. He didn't want to slide. Anthony Richardson can be a top-tier quarterback in the NFL with that arm, with that mobility, with everything, with that size. If he can just stay healthy on the field, this kid, the sky's the limit. He is an amazing quarterback prospect. And we still have a lot of unknowns with this kid. How would the accuracy look here and there? In the 4 games, the accuracy was a bit concerning, but it got cleaned up as the game progressed and as the game progressed on. In his first game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he was 24-37, 223 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and that was the only interception that he threw in the regular season. And he had 1 rushing touchdown in that game as well. Against the Houston Texans, he was 6 of 10 for 56 passing yards. He got knocked out of that game with a concussion. He comes back against the Los Angeles Rams. They lose that game, but he was 11 of 25, 200 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. And he also had a rushing touchdown as well, 10 carries for 56 yards. And the last time we saw him was against Tennessee Titans when he hurt his shoulder. He has to be able to stay healthy with this team. It's the reason why he was a first-round pick. The kid is phenomenal. He was very good in college, didn't have that many snaps in college. He played some games, but not as many as other guys like a CJ Stroud or a Bryce Young. You look at a guy like Anthony Richardson, he is still young into his career. Be patient with him. But I do think if the offensive line can stand up for this kid and he just can protect this stuff in the open field, the sky's the limit for this team and this offense. They will go as far as he can take them, because you look at the rest of the pieces on this team, they're pretty solid. We're talking about Gardner Minshew here almost getting this team into the NFL playoffs. And no offense to Gardner Minshew, he can be a starting quarterback in the NFL, but he's not a top 5 to top 10 or top 15 quarterback. Gardner Minshew came in and he did a lot of good things this season with this team. Gardner Minshew had 15 passing touchdowns to 9 interceptions, but he gave them consistency at the quarterback position. And it was good play here and there. Not every single game he went out there and threw for 300 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns, but they didn't need that out of him. They needed him to just work within the system with what they have. And with Shane Steichen calling plays, it worked out. The offensive line was a step up this season than what it was last season. We all remember that Quentin Nelson wasn't that great last season. He still had some good moments, but the entire team was just down. Frank Reich got fired at the halfway point of the season. You bring in Jeff Saturday, who is a great center in the past and is a Hall of Fame player. But this is a guy that was a TV analyst. This is not a guy that would go out there and coach teams, especially in the NFL. And they won the first game underneath him when he was coaching against the Las Vegas Raiders. But this team was in a horrible situation last season. So to see the offensive line take that step up this season and show that they can still be a top offensive line unit in the NFL, that was a great thing to see. And you look at the running backs with this team. You matched it up with Anthony Richardson. You're talking about guys like Jonathan Taylor. And Jonathan Taylor, just a couple of seasons ago, was the best running back in the NFL. He missed some time this season dealing with an injury, but he had 741 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns. He averaged 4.4 yards a carry. Zach Moss came in and filled in that void very early in the season. 794 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. He averaged 4 yards a carry. So you're putting both of those guys with the speed of Anthony Richardson. It opens up everything for the offense, and especially when you mix in with that offensive line as well, with how good they played down the stretch. the entire offense would be very good. You look at the weapons that they have. Michael Pittman Jr. is a very good wide receiver. He's a true number one wide receiver. 109 catches. That was fifth most in the NFL with catches. 1,152 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. And he missed time this season because he suffered a concussion against the Steelers on a Saturday night game. So this is a guy that did miss some time and still found a way to go out there and make a huge impact with this team. And I felt bad for Michael Pittman Jr. in the past. He's had to play with some bad quarterbacks, but yet he always put up good production, but he never got the attention that he deserved from the mainstream media. This is a guy that has great hands, can moss guys in open field, can beat you off the line of scrimmage. He is a very good wide receiver. He is that typical type of wide receiver that you want. Big body, smooth hands, a very good route runner. He's going to be a guy that you want to lock down long term with this Colts roster. Josh Downs is a rookie. He looked very good this season. He's a burner in the open field. He's only 5'9", but he plays like he's legit 6 foot. 771 receiving yards on the season, 2 receiving touchdowns. I expect for those receiving touchdowns to go up. And Alec Pierce is a solid wide receiver. Alec Pierce has some good moments this season as well. 514 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. I'm not saying that Alec Pierce is going to go out there and be a true number 2 to Michael Pittman Jr., but he deserves to have a spot on this roster and he deserves to get snaps with this team. I like him a lot as well. The entire offense, even without Anthony Richardson, it looked very good. But you mix in Anthony Richardson with the ability to scramble, move around, and make some of those crazy throws with Shane Steichen calling plays, this could be a top offense in the NFL. And I look at their defense as well. Their defense was solid this season. You look at a guy like Juju Brents, he did miss some time. He's a rookie cornerback. I think that he can be a very good corner with this team moving forward. Kenny Moore is already a good corner with this team. He's essentially their number 1 corner. But I really like Juju Brents a lot. If he can stay healthy, this is a kid that could be a top corner in the NFL for years to come. Keep those two guys together. I like what they have with that cornerback duo with Kenny Moore and also with Juju Brents as well. Nick Cross, solid safety. I like the plays that he can make here and there. Ronnie Harrison has good moments on the defense. He's not a true starting safety when you're talking about just being in coverage, but he has some key takeaways this season. And what I mean being a true starting safety in the NFL, I mean on the same level as some top safeties in the NFL. I'm not calling him a bad player because he has some good moments. Their defense is also good at getting to the quarterback as well. You look at a guy like Kwity Paye in just his second season. He looked very good. 8.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles on the season. DeForest Buckner, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles as well. And I look at a guy like Grover Stewart, missed some time this season. Solid defensive tackle. And I like Taven Bryant this season as well with this team. He was a first-round pick a couple years ago with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not calling him a game changer, but he's good when it comes to those rotational snaps. I don't know if you want him to be on the field every single down in terms of being on the field in second and third down and crucial downs, but he's a good plug-and-play guy. I like to think of him in that type of way. You look at the linebackers with this team. They went out, they cut Shaq Leonard, and some people were saying, hey, why would they do that? This is a guy that was an all-pro in the past. He was a Pro Bowler. What's going on here? Number 1, it saved this team a lot of money. And number 2, he wasn't that explosive anymore. When he was dealing with that back injury, that took a lot from Shaq Leonard. But you have a guy like Zaire Franklin, who was a top linebacker in the NFL this season. He's a tackle machine. He had the second most solo tackles in the NFL with 107, and he had 2 forced fumbles as well. He's a game-wrecking tackler at the linebacking position. And I do think moving forward, he's going to be one of the best players on this team. In terms of just getting to the running back, in terms of getting to the passer, whatever you need him to do, he's going to be a solid foundational piece in the middle of that defense. They do have some other things that they need to work out, because you look at this division, it's a tough division. You have CJ Stroud in the Houston Texans. That's going to be a tough team to deal with for the next couple of years. You have the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. That's going to be a team that wants to rebound next season. And you look at a team like the Tennessee Titans, are in that rebuilding stage right now, but Will Levis is nothing to be slept on. So I look at the other teams in this division, it's going to be tough. But it's that interesting prospect of Anthony Richardson and how good he can be moving forward with this team. I love the coaching staff that they have. And for the first time in a very long time, it seems like the Indianapolis Colts in the next couple of years can be a true contender in the AFC. That's just my opinion. If all these guys can stay healthy and Anthony Richardson can develop to being that top tier quarterback, a lot of people compared him to being Cam Newton when he first came out of college. I think he can be better than Cam Newton in this system, because when you think about it, Cam Newton didn't have the type of weapons that this kid's going to have right now. You have a Josh Downs. You have a Michael Pittman Jr. And there's still a lot of development that needs to go on with Anthony Richardson. But I do think that he's going to be in great hands with Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen is the head coach, so he's not going anywhere unless you fire him. And they're not going to get rid of him anytime soon. Look at the impact that he made on Jalen Hurts. Look at Jalen Hurts before and after Shane Steichen. Look at Justin Herbert, that development that happened underneath that one season with Shane Steichen. He's a very bright offensive mind, and he's one of the best offensive minds in the NFL today. If he can develop Anthony Richardson, the sky's the limit for this team. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Indianapolis Colts, and are they headed into the right direction? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.